Pow wow, yo yippee, yay. It's pile number 36 and I'm super excited to be with you guys. As always, we're going to dig down to love the community and then talk about more about SocialFi, talk about a little bit about builders and regulation as well, and of course, enjoy the ride. As you guys know, my name is Cyrus Fazel, the proud founder and CEO of SwissBorg, always here to serve you. Question of the week, and this goes to One Borg. It is happening. We'll have more further communications, but it will happen in probably the end of September to maybe end of October. That's pretty much the window between where we'll be able to unveil this and to finally make the swap happen or the migration. Sorry. News of the week, obviously, there's X that is trying to bring more and more crypto. There's grayscales. There's the fact that the SEC has lost a huge case against Grayscale, but is trying to postpone the ETF. The ETF now has pretty much 40 days to see if Grayscale will have any issues with their last verdict. This could be pushed at least 2 or 3 times. So essentially, if you're looking at me, if I have a guesstimation of the ETF approval, and I would say probably Q1, Q2, yes, next year we'll have an ETF that will happen. And that's really good because it will probably be in sync with, of course, halving, which is something we're all waiting, which will be around 18th or 24th of April next year. So that's going to be a huge catalyst to drive, I would say, us into a new cycle, this new bull cycle. Last but not least, there's been a lot of noise on Solana. And me, that was never really pushing Solana, to be honest. I'm now quite convinced that this is a huge play and that there's a lot of different things. Rune himself, the founder of MakerDAO, one of the biggest, essentially DeFi protocol, which has created DAI, is talking about Solana and trying to fork potentially Solana to build on top MakerDAO. In terms of ETH price, we are playing the Bart Welcome Simpson, who essentially is waiting for catalysts. What I believe is very important is maybe not on the short run, but what is going to happen in the next run? And if you look at the different months right now, September usually is a month that is not great, but October is really a good one. And I think that December could be a very nice one too. So this is what has been done in average. You could see that the last quarter in general, we have a very nice month of October. Quite a good month in average of November, and December, let's say that an average around Christmas, it's always a good time because, well, essentially Christmas is here. There's more money to be poured in and people are most joyful. And if you look now more on a long run, I think this is a chart that we need to look to understand and to really always figure out that we move in cycles. These cycles happen every 4 years. It goes very well with the halving in general, and that the halving, not only with a new idea, with a new way of pouring in institutional money, pouring in essentially a new narrative regarding adoption of crypto, brings something crazy. And I think so this is something that is very, very important. The next 8 months, we're probably going to witness that we are finally into the bull cycle. And the time where we get to this bull cycle then could last 1 year, it could last, a little bit more. But what it is very important is to understand that this is the right time to accumulate. This is the right time to get all the people that are not into crypto. I know that 90% of people are not going to go this. They're going to be like, yeah, I know it's going to happen, but no one's really going to press that button and say, let's go into how to invest. However, the smart people that have done this already in the past, in 2016 or 2017, or did that in 2019 and did that in 2020, know very well this game and are very, very advert. And these are the people that today are multimillionaires. For those who are listening and have done that, don't forget the true definition of a millionaire is helping 1 million people. And this is exactly what you should be doing right now. How you did this in the past, you know who I'm talking to. You've done this with a lot of people. And when you're saying a SwissBorg token 90% discount, when you're seeing Ethereum minus 65%, or Bitcoin minus 65%, 70% discount, that probably means that there is something great to happen, and that will happen. I don't know when, maybe not be in April 18th that the bull run will happen, but we know that there is a lot. And to remind yourself, what are the catalysts? Look on industry-wise, there is the halving itself. There is the fact that, we have these cycles that happen all the time. We have the fact that SocialFi is really growing by itself. We have the fact that the ETF will enable to bring a huge amount of institutions. We have a lot of banking acts where people could essentially get into crypto in an easier way. There's so many different narratives within the industry. And if you look at a macro level, it is still weird. We are in this weird, post-COVID, high inflation, high interest rates, but this eventually won't stay forever. Sooner or later, we will probably revisit a way to lower down essentially interest rates, and this will then fly a lot of money into essentially more high risk type of investments, which crypto is. So there's a lot to be done. History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. So become a Borger and pass it on to the love people. Talking about love people, Dan Pericula, thank you so much for everything what you're doing, not only in favor, but as well essentially in the whole ecosystem. You ask the good questions, the difficult questions sometimes, and it's just really good to have you among us and have you on Discord, and thank you very much for that. So we've talked about SocialFi, and we're going to talk about it again. Of course, right now there is Favor that is really booming. There is as well Warpcast, which is all on the Farcast essentially ecosystem that's just a competitor to that. There's FriendsTech that's going wild. By the way, shout out to GM. I saw that he's buying different tokens. And thank you for owning some of my keys, by the way. So let's start a little bit by Farcaster. Farcaster is one of right now the really hip place that is happening on SocialFi. It's a bit like Twitter, so it's very similar to Favor, but it's on the invite only for now. There's a very small amount of Web3 players. It's very elitist to some extent, but it's as well very interesting, to be honest. I've been really trying to enjoy my time on Favor, but as well through Farcaster on Warpcast, which is their app. And to be honest, there's a lot of smart people there, and I'm really enjoying it. The last is FriendsTech. We talked about it many times, so not much more there, which obviously a lot of people are discrediting the fact that, FriendsTech, it's all a Ponzi game. I do agree that there's a Ponzi, but the game is quite clear. It's not like it's a scheme or whatsoever. The new thing what's happening though on FriendsTech is that there's a lot of women from OnlyFans that are coming in, and if you buy their keys, you're essentially in their messaging, and then they start new pictures or whatsoever. So at least there's something that's coming, and I just realized there's good news for them that they're finally getting the credit card, so people will be able to, the normies will be able to eventually get into FriendsTech. So I think so. These are the three big projects that I really enjoy so far, and I think that everyone should get involved with. We talked about this, but let's go quickly. We know that after every boom, every different cycle, the boom was created from something, right? 2012 to 2000, let's say 15. Some of that was done by essentially the Silk Road. Some of that was done through Coinbase. Some of that was done through a lot of different other actors, right? Grayscale as well. We know that 2017 was the ICO boom. 2020 was DeFi and NFTs. And now the next cycle, essentially, it's maybe through SocialFi. And the reason why we're doing that is that the big groups today, such as Meta and other ones, are really profiting from you as a user, right? You as a content creator are not earning much or almost nothing. And essentially, the whole business is based on monetization of your data, of your inputs. So it's something it's a bit like a slavery type of thing, where we're getting this ego boost, or we're getting some profits out of the fight people liking. But the real money, which is mating, it's out of the advertisement that it's done. And I think so this is something that is really unfair. And of course, this is the narrative that X is trying to play right now, with Twitter coming this peer-to-peer culture, which was created by Elon Musk himself to some extent. And we're trying to really get to the more where people, content creators, could passively or actively earn a revenue stream from their community members. And I think so this is something that we all agree as. And And I think so the big statistics is why do we believe that social media is a great catalyst for Web3 is just look at the average. Like you would see that that's first, in terms of people, we're 5 billion people on this planet. And there's 4.8 billion of people there's 5 billion people that use internet and 4.8 billion actually on social media. So that means the when you're using internet, you're actually into social media. There's a 90% conversion there. And more importantly, if you look at the usage year on year, is just growing pretty much every quarter. And the FaceTime or the screen time that you're spending on social media is just growing because it's a social media tool that enables you to communicate, enables you to work, enables you to do whatever different type of things. So it's really not even gaming and everything. And obviously here you see that so far in Web3, the catalysts were very small. There's a very small amount of people that are into crypto that are actually into OpenSeas or into Uniswap, and even less into DeFi, other protocols. And this is something that's very, very important. And the revenues that are made out of these platforms are usually very small. Look at most crypto activities. The reason why they die, there's multiple reasons, but essentially they haven't figured out a business model that's attached to their token that really makes sense. And if you look at if people really think that the best thing will only be NFTs, you see that PFPs is really not the really big thing. It had its thing. It will come back. There's no doubt about that. But essentially, there's no real use cases or a small amount of use cases with these NFTs for now. So that therefore, essentially, the popularity has been shrinking and shrinking. Again, now to talk about really what is happening in the decentralized social media on the Web3, the SocialFi. There's really, I would say, 3 big ecosystems, right? Which is Farcaster, Lens, and CyberConnect. Farcaster is the American one, Lens is the European one, CyberConnect is the Asian one. And then in terms of applications that are built on it, there is Lenster, and with Lenster you have essentially Favor, which you guys obviously know. With Farcaster, essentially what you have, it is very interesting. It is essentially a Warpcast, which is like their Twitter version or their Favor version, which is very interesting. And then you have different other, for example, on Solana, like Drip House is one of the new one. I just got there yesterday. It's a really cool one. You could collect different NFTs. You could gift. You could give money to different content creators. And this is actually a very, very growing one. And we'll talk about Solana maybe right after. So we have partnered Favor. I'm really now growing on Favor. I think that it's a great platform. There's a lot of limitations yet. To make this clear, it's still a very early project, but you're seeing more and more traction. And thank you guys to follow myself and more importantly, SwissBorg. I think we have over 3,000 followers there, and that thing is really good. What I invite you is, if you haven't done it yet, create your account and start enjoying it. In the beginning, it's always difficult. So you really have to follow the people that you have that creates content. And, to be honest, 2 weeks ago, I was a bit boring, and the more I'm growing with it, the more I'm starting to enjoy it, especially that I feel now there's a lot of workers and great content creators. Next community events, we're having Zurich meetup Friday. I'm going to try to go there if it's possible. Favor Smart Talk, which will happen next week on Tuesday, how to become a hero there. And last but not least, we'll have the meetup in Fribourg next week on Wednesday. According to the CHSB reminder here, it is the last few days. If you want to get rewarded, please check your email, check your notification, and vote. Weekly and CHSB data that will be very soon Borg data, a little bit more premium than last week. The good thing is that the community index hasn't had a real impact. It's still a low one, but it's fine. We'll be trying to get to higher extent. The stability scores really bring us down, but thank you very much for social media that's been picking this up. Beautiful burgers. Sorry, I had to be really fast for this one. I have a lot to do. But SocialFi is still really the big narrative that we believe in. And I hope that this is something that we're now trying to expand and to show to the world. There's so many great things that came out of this new alpha opportunity with Favor, even Binance putting in their news. A lot of people are going to try to say like, oh, well, SwissBorg is not about investing. It's about how a community could really bring great value to the next big narrative, to the next big actors. And this will only enable us to control how we Borgers are building a great reputation, are building a track record, are building wealth into Web3. And for that, I cannot really more welcome all of you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing this. Oh, last thing, I almost forgot. There's a big community happening on essentially on September 12th in Liechtenstein. I'll be there. Hopefully we'll be able to meet many of you guys there. And I'll be there the 11th too, so it'll be great to meet you there. And there's a few people that I'll message shortly. And as always, be wealthy, be healthy, love our CHSB and your equity. Take care, guys. Bye.
Through SwissBorg, all assets will have a fiat gateway. And here is the thing.
Premium features gives you zero fee trading.
It's an amazing fiat gateway.